SG Tushar Mehta has begun with his opening statements. He said when a statutory authority was discharging its function, the CM Banerjee barges in. The com of police comes with her and then sits on dharna. Now I have Advocate R.K. Singh, advocate on record, Supreme Court, joining me on the broadcast. Now, Mr. Singh, the question really is that, this is not a trial, this is really a plea. What really is the legal scope of this hearing?
Thank you very much. No, undoubtedly the question before the Supreme Court is much bigger now. For the first time, Supreme Court is seized with a very unique situation. When a central government agency who works under a statutory act passed by the Parliament is being alleged not to perform its duties in a state. So it's not a mere question whereby a popularly elected chief minister barges into the office or prohibits or restricts government officials from performing their duty. If then this trend continues, I'm being unbiased. If this trend continues, then some other chief minister will repeat the same. Because we all are aware that, and we must remember, your voice is echoing, I don't know why. So if other chief ministers, they start repeating the same act, then the entire federal structure will collapse. And this is one big question which Supreme Court will have to answer. And I'm sure the Supreme Court is going to answer this question in this case only. Secondly, the reports which I was on your channel yesterday also, when the proceedings were going in Calcutta High Court. So the allegation and counter allegations of the lawyers of both the sides, and which sometimes transcended to the personal level, is not a very welcome sign for a fair judicial hearing. But since the matter now is before the Supreme Court, so the task before the Supreme Court is quite big. And we all as a lawyer and citizens of this country is looking very anxiously and with all anticipation that Supreme Court is going to give a very decisive and exclusive finding so as not to restrict or prohibit or obstruct central government agencies from doing their job. This is not a very healthy sign for a federal structure in this country, because the act, which is good, bad or ugly, it has already surpassed the time, because the act has already been passed by the Parliament. And the Parliament is the collective will of the people. And every state, every chief minister, every citizen of this country has to mandatorily, whether he or she likes it or not, the act passed by the Parliament. There is no choice in it. So this is how it is. Yes, please.
Now, Mr. Singh, the question that I want to ask you is that does a sitting chief minister have any legal authority to intervene in or be present during search operations conducted by the ED?
Absolutely, big no. Whether the sitting chief minister or ex-chief minister or any citizen, they do not have any constitutional right under the garb of any excuse to interfere, obstruct, restrict a government officer from performing his or her constitutional duty. This is a constitutional mandate casted upon that person to perform the duty, not ordinarily by his immediate seniors or political bosses, but by the constitution of this country, but by the Parliament of this country. If you are anyway obstructing that person, then you are demeaning, you are being disloyal, you are betraying the very oath which you have taken on the Constitution. And betrayal of oath in a democracy is far heinous a crime than any other crime of any nature. So this is the solemn promise every Indian has made with the Constitution. And we cannot at any stretch of imagination, Madam, telling you that we can or courts can allow or should allow anyone to breach that promise. This is going to bring a catastrophic effect in the entire constitutional scheme of our country. And it must be stopped and stopped immediately, and if required, some strict measures must be passed by, or strictures must be passed by Supreme Court. This is my earnest view on it. Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Singh, please stay on with me. I'll come back to you. ISG Tushar Mehta further stated that officers of ED intimated local police and acting under Section 17 PMLA was to probe IPAC and then all police officers. The CM Mamata Banerjee took away all the files. This is theft. She took an ED officer's phone as well. Moreover, the SG stated that this will only encourage such acts and the central forces will be demoralized. He urged the Supreme Court to let an example be set where officers who were explicitly present there should be suspended. Sambhav Sharma is joining me. Sambhav, what more can you tell us on this new development?
Well, absolutely. Hearing is going on in the Supreme Court as we speak. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta is making submission, as you rightly pointed out. But one big claim made by Solicitor General here is that the West Bengal police removed the CCTV footage. This is what the Enforcement Directorate's big claim is before the Supreme Court. And remember, this time Solicitor General Tushar Mehta is making submissions in the Supreme Court. Yesterday, similar kind of arguments were made by ASD, Additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju, in the Calcutta High Court, as he further said, suppose I'm proving a money laundering, then the money recovered will go to the depositors. We represent the will of those victims of the offense, and here is the second petition by the Enforcement Directorate official. And as he has said, alleging Solicitor General further making submission to the Supreme Court. He's saying that ED officials earlier have alleged that obstruction were created in the chit fund scam case probe as well, and they were taken to the police station. So this is not the first time that the enforcement, these agencies are not, the state government is not letting these agencies work in the state of West Bengal. This is what the SD is saying. As he is further said, there are other important submissions being made by Solicitor General, as he is claiming that the police and the state police is also involved in a way, and alleging the removal of the incriminating materials and seize the ED official's mobile phone. So these are the arguments, and as he is continuously making submissions before the Supreme Court. And one important aspect here is that, as he has cited High Court record, noting that mob-like situation with advocates and others creating commotion inside the courtroom. Remember those visuals which we saw from the Calcutta High Court. As he is talking about those visuals, as he is citing that High Court record has recorded that mob-like situation with advocates and others, and this has created a commotion inside the court and making hearing conducive. And also, ED has claimed that its officers face difficulties during a High Court hearing, including microphones being muted and restricted.
Sambhav, stay on with me. Now, I have Advocate Jasmine Namkewala. She's the advocate at the Supreme Court joining me. Now, Jasmine, all of this that Mamata Banerjee, whatever has been submitted by the Solicitor General, all of what Mamata Banerjee has done, including taking away an ED officer's phone, what do you think about all of this? Is this even legal?
No, certainly not, Vaishali. It is definitely not legal. Obstructing of a public servant under the BNS, which is the earlier IPC, is a punishable offence. You cannot do it because you're not just committing the offence of snatching away, theft, or any kind of assault or violence on a person, but he's a public officer. He is supposed to discharge public duties. So if the ED is there to gather evidence and you snatch away his phone, you take away the papers, then that is, these are allegations right now, but I believe they happened because they are reported, but it is nothing short of hooliganism. So there is no place for hooliganism in a democracy. And you definitely cannot interfere with a public servant discharging his duty. If you are aggrieved by what the ED is doing, if you are aggrieved by any action taken or investigation, there is always recourse to courts of law. You can always go to a court and file a petition. You can say the search and seizure was not valid. You can have any number of recourses which are within the parameters of law, but you cannot take the law in your own hands and snatch away the official's phone or take away the papers and mob the person. That certainly there is no place in a democracy for that.
All right, I request both my guests